Coach, what was the focus of practice today? What were some of the things you were trying to iron out?
Obviously, offensively, being able to take care of the basketball. 19 turnovers last night for 26 points. Watching how they happened, how could we be better there, giving ourselves space, giving ourselves room, making quick decisions. All those small pieces of the possession game, which was so important for us last night.
Was there something in particular you noticed, a trend between the turnovers, or was it just a combination of things?
I think it was a combination of things. Detroit turning their defense up, plugging gaps a little bit more. Our ability to have the right intention of getting downhill, attacking the basket in space versus seeing a crowd. Just constantly talking about the quick decisions that we can make to put pressure on the defense once we do touch the paint.
What would you like to see differently in terms of the spacing on offense, especially when it does slow down in the half court?
Well, I can go into a lot right now. You want a whole book? At the end of the day, it is about quick decisions and understanding when we got to give each other room. So when there is a guy in the corner, in the opposite corner, the ball's on the right side of the floor, the big should be in the trail, there should be a wing on the opposite side. If you're open, you attack the basket, get downhill. If not, swing it through the big, play on the second side of the floor. When we got the ball to the second side of the floor, we would literally be 8th in the NBA. When we touched the paint last night, we are at a 59% rate. We'd have been top 5 in the league touching the paint. But that second half, we didn't touch the paint, we turned it over. So those key spacing pieces are important for us every night.
After the game last night, Paolo talked about this team's ability to maybe adjust to other teams' adjustments in the second half. Do you see that as a potential problem at all?
Yeah, I think the one adjustment that Detroit made last night, they just played a little harder. They got into the ball, they grabbed that a little bit more, they plugged the paint a little bit more, and our decisions became slower because there were a lot of gaps. There was no schematic adjustment that they made. It was more or less the line. They did turn up their defensive heat a lot more. If you looked at the third quarter, they had about 2 or 3 blocks at the rim. They turned us over. They built walls in transition. As we were getting downhill in that first half, they were building a bigger wall than we were able to get downhill in those situations. And then they did a great job of getting downhill offensively after we had turned that basketball over or they got a block at the rim.
Jalen only missed 3 games, but back injuries are always a little bit tricky. What's been the process of him kind of getting back into rhythm and getting back into the flow?
Yeah, you see him doing his work here, trying to get his body back into game shape and the rhythm of game shots, and it's just going to take a bit of time just to continue that process of getting himself back together. Again, and then the minutes are going to be sporadic within the game, just so we're not pushing it too long, but ability to keep finding that rhythm as we go forward.
He took, I think, 13 threes last night. How did you kind of feel like he played and approach that part of the game? Do you want to see him maybe attack a little bit more? Or is it just about what he's comfortable doing right now?
Yeah, I think it's about all of us. I think what we need to do is continue to Beatty's point. I think that the key is that we continue to touch the paint to find those feet set, knock down threes. And I think to the other side of it is how can we get the ball to the second side to side more. So now we shift defenses. Now do we make them adjust to us versus us, adjusting to them by plugging the lane. But I'd love to see us touch the paint more in order to get the feet set, knock down threes.
Obviously, the turnovers were a big part of the story, but you still hold them to 106 points. I think it was a 102 defensive rating, one of the better defense ratings. Do you feel like in the half court, at the very least, the defense has started to kind of pick up its pace and pick up some steam?
I absolutely do. Our defense over the last 10 to 12 has been exactly what we need it to be. Now, there's a ton of things we can always clean up, but our attention to detail and game plan and focus of knowing who we're guarding and how we're guarding has definitely improved over the last 12. So I think that's going to be our calling card. And the next piece, that's why we worked so much today on taking care of the basketball, giving each other room and giving each other space to operate.
How is Anthony doing, and what was he able to do today?
Anthony was not able to do anything. He's on the floor now, probably just shooting some free throws and passing to the guys, but not able to go through any contact. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Wendell, what was the focus of practice today as you guys try to get back on track tomorrow night against the Wizards?
Watched a lot of film, which I think was good. Bodies are banged up, so not too much running around. Just going over, what essentially we could have done better to win the game last night. I think, for the most part, our process was pretty good. We had our moments where we weren't doing what we intended to do throughout the game, especially offensively. But we got great looks. Just didn't make them, and that's kind of the nature of the NBA. It's a make or miss league, and we got a lot of good open looks, especially in the fourth, and we just weren't making it, which is fine.
Mose just said last night that Detroit didn't really make much schematic adjustments. They just played with more effort, played harder. Was that something you sensed on the court last night? And what do you think the difference was in the second half between the first half?
I wouldn't necessarily say that they were playing harder than us. I think they changed a couple of things systematically. They started going 15 at one point, but it didn't last long. So, it was something that it was definitely an adjustment from their aspect. But at the end of the day, that can never be a topic. That anyone can say that another team is playing harder than us, no matter what I say. So, I think for the outside looking in, whatever everyone else is thinking, what they think they saw, we can't allow that to even be a thing. We can't allow, to give up, as many offensive rebounds that we did. We can't turn the ball over as much as we did. And I think the game would be a lot different if we did do those two things.
With the turnovers and the rebounding, like you mentioned, you guys are statistically one of the better teams at not turning the ball over, of getting defensive rebounds. But there seems to be these games here and there where that problem creeps up. How do you go about just not letting that creep in and affecting how you guys play?
Not letting it happen no more. What happened last game. I think we just got to do a better job of, especially with longer shots. I understand it's going to be longer rebounds from all five on the court, checking and hitting our men. Even when we're tired, just doing all the little things to make sure we secure rebounds. I don't think it's something that we have to worry about creeping in and being something that will derail this season. But then turnover-wise, we just got to be more crisp. Understanding what we're doing on the offensive end and not allowing the intensity or the physicality to throw us off.
You mentioned that you generally like the process of what you guys are doing defensively. You guys had one of the better defensive games you've had all season, holding that Detroit team to 106 points. Where do you feel like the defense is at? And does it feel like it's starting to kind of find its groove and pick up some steam?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think just coming out of All-Star break, we've been doing a fantastic job on the defensive end, holding a lot of these high-scoring teams below their averages. That's the Orlando Magic I know, and I'm glad that we're kind of accepting that identity, even from D-Bane and Jay Suggs to me and P, like taking those challenges head on. Like I said before, that makes this team so much better. When we control what we control, and then the defensive end is one of the bigger controllables. That when you win that side of the ball, you give yourself a good chance to win the game.
Houston and Detroit are obviously great teams, but you guys take a lot of pride in protecting the home court. How important are these next two games here to get back on track?
Super important. Now we're at 22 games left in the season. It's dwindling down. It's coming down to, probably the end of the season is going to come down to a couple games, and these are the games we can't lose. We got to go in there with a sense of urgency, understand that we got to get back on the right track on both ends of the court. Get back on the same page offensively and defensively, just continue to do what we've been doing and clean up the glass. So I think it's very important for us to win these next two, but definitely want to take it one game at a time. So taking care of Washington's first goal for sure.
You guys obviously have dealt with guys coming in and out of the lineup. Now Jalen only missed 3 games, but what's the process like of helping him get reintegrated in the lineup, and what can you do to help him kind of get comfortable?
Jay Suggs? Oh yeah. Jay's one of those guys. Like as you see now, he's out here working. Like he wants to help this team win, no matter what it is, defensively, offensively, knocking down shots. He's one of those guys that I've grown close to over these years, and I've gotten to know him a lot more and just know what kind of person he is. Like he just wants to win. That's his main thing. So him getting back into the lineup isn't going to be tough. I would say that's really for anybody on this team. Like all these guys want to win, from the number 1 guy to the 15th guy. So it makes it easy, and that's why from years in the past when guys went in and out of the lineup, we were still finding ways to win games. So I don't think it'll be too much of an adjustment.
You talked about process versus results. When you get down into these final 20 or so games, is it kind of switch where the results start to become a little bit more important?
For sure. As much as we like to say process over results, the results speak for themselves. Like you want to have more wins than losses. You want to make more shots than miss them. So it's kind of a twofold kind of thing. You want to keep living with the process for sure, but at the end of the day, if it's not getting you the results, then things definitely have to change so you get the results that you want. So it's kind of a 2-part fold, but at the same time, you still want to play the game with ethics and play it the correct way.
Jay, what was the focus of practice today? What were some of the things that you guys were trying to iron out before getting ready for Washington tomorrow?
Mose had his things that he wanted to clean up, so
kind of listen to what he had to say. Let him run the film, come out here, walk through some stuff with Joe P. Just a good cleanup day.
How have the last 2 games gone for you individually, and how would you describe the way you played since you returned from injury?
I thought last game was a much better approach, much better mindset. That's what my main focus was. I've been putting in the work. I've been here extra with Sham, my pops, 1T, Sean, getting extra bump in. But for me, it was my approach I think was throwing me off. Specifically that first game back. A really good wake-up call. So for me, just been trying to get back into my rhythm, get back to work and focus on the things that, I actually can control, things that I can do, and that's my mental. That's my joy, and that's my intention every night. So last game, I thought I did a great job of that. Shots ain't always going to fall. A couple I wish I had back, but for the most part, solid looks, smoke layups and open tray balls, that I'll knock down. So I think last game was much better. I'm building off that one.
Coach said Detroit's big second half adjustment wasn't necessarily schematically, but maybe they just worked a little harder than they did earlier. Did you see that at all last night?
Yeah, they had really good intention coming out, especially to start the third quarter, where they went on their run. Really, I think throughout the whole third quarter. Fourth quarter, we missed a lot of good looks, but the third quarter, I think they definitely changed the pace of the game, and they were in control. We were reactive. So I think as much as you can, dictate what's going on offensively and defensively, you'll be in control of the game, and that'll lead you to good things. And I thought they did a better job than us doing that in the third quarter. So, yeah, good cleanup. We talked about it today, and we'll be better.
What's the biggest challenge of trying to kind of find your rhythm and find your pace when you're jumping back in after the All-Star break and the results start to come a little bit more closer to the end?
I mean, this is a fun time of year. And I've been preparing for this year. I've been looking forward to it. So I think not overthinking it, just coming out and being in the moment, and being fully intentional and prepared every night for my squad. I think that's the biggest thing coming down the stretch. There are no do-overs, there are no take-backs, and once you get in the offs, that's it. And the season is over when you lose 4. So I think for me, just trying to come out here and have fun, get back to that joy and passion. Instead of letting it drift and kind of being a victim to things. So, for me, that's what I'm focusing on down the backstretch, and everything else will take care of itself.
You missed only 3 games, but do you still have, back injuries, but do you have to give yourself a little bit of grace as you kind of find your rhythm again, or how do you approach that part of it?
I think everybody got to give themselves grace in their everyday life, and I'm not excluded from that. Like I said, I think playing the victim role puts you in a bad spot and carries bad energy with it. So really just trying to have fun, trying to be joyful, again, focus on the things I can control, coming out and playing hard, pouring love and goodness into my teammates and playing with high energy, to shift the game. So for me, like I said, that's all I'm focused on. I got to give myself grace for sure, but I think kind of getting back to the fundamentals of things and the roots of who I am, I think will solve a lot of my own problems. So.
What have you made of Javon Carter, just the conversations you've had with him and on and off the court, his addition to the team?
Good vet. I think the way that he works every day is top notch. I mean, he's one of the hardest workers I've been around for sure. I got the haircut in light of Javon. I'm trying to follow in his footsteps with the body. But he's been great. Conversations in game are amazing. We have good convos. And I think my favorite part about it is he's held me accountable on multiple occasions. Just raw, uncut comms. Not trying to sugarcoat, not trying to make me feel good. He's just sharing real truth with me, and I've appreciated that. So it's been nice having him around.
What do you make of the haircut and how it's been going? Since you brought it up, I have to ask.
I love the baldy. My sister rubbed my hair for about 20 minutes yesterday. That was kind of nice. I got to go get some sun today, so everything evens out. But, yeah, new transition, new evolution. It's like when Aang cut his hair off in season 3. So I'm feeling like.
Thanks, Jay.
Yes, sir.